Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Fake Ass Book Club. It's your girl, Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey, Kat.
Hey, Moni.
What's up, friend?
I'm just faking my way through it.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, what a week.
Yeah. I've been saying I've been in a disassociative fugue state, but I can still podcast.
Well, that's good.
Thank you for the alcohol. That helped.
Well, it was just a little gesture. And also, too, I was grateful for today because I thought, we did touch base a little bit. Thank you for reaching out the day after election to say, how are you? I want to acknowledge that, for a lot of people, they're not exactly excited right now. Like, this is a really sort of tough.
It's a blow.
It's a blow.
It's more than just losing an election because we're used to that.
Yes, we are because we've done that before.
It's really who it was lost to.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Like,
by a
wow.
lot.
Y'all really.
This is what y'all want.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like, I'm just still processing. I don't think I've noticed a lot of people are like really down and like actually already in a state of depression.
Spiral.
Yeah, like I haven't been able to make it to that space because I'm still processing it, I think. And for better or for worse, it's done. So, there is a little bit of like, okay, so what do we do now?
And I try to tell myself like, well, he is very old. People don't live forever. But his vice presidential pick is worse than Mike Pence. Does anybody remember why Mike Pence didn't necessarily want to run again with Trump?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, he said he was terrible.
Well, didn't he also try to have him killed?
Yeah.
I think that there was
January
6th
calls for that. Like
hanging
him and Pelosi, by their toenails.
I never thought I'd be like, shout out to Mike Pence for, not signing up for these. See how he was like, I'm not signing up to be killed again.
Yeah. And he really, I want to say he has spoken out since then to say like, I don't support this guy.
He was actually a big part of why January 6th was a failure for Trump that time. I'm gonna start calling him Donald just to be disrespectful. Lil Donnie.
Yeah, it's
Don.
I don't know, man. It's been quite the ride, and we have 4 years of this. But in that transition time, I really do think that it's important for us to stay engaged with our communities, not just throw ourselves into a state of despair and just like, okay, well, they're just gonna do whatever. It's like, we really
I have been kind of like, let them have it.
Like, well, here's the thing, they already have it, but my point being, like, we've seen societies experience these sort of things where they've collectively decided that they're gonna go with the strong man, and what inevitably ends up happening is they target the media, they target women's rights, and some of the structural things and immigrants that make I don't know why I want to say make society good, but
the fact that people want to come to your country is a good sign.
It's a definitely good sign.
And even though it's counterintuitive, when you get rid of immigrants, the unemployment rates go up because a lot of jobs go away that are possible that they create. So.
And the tax revenue that those things, because a lot of even undocumented workers.
So
still
if you were
pay
mad
taxes,
about food prices before, just see what they are when you deport a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like that's going to create scarcities. And for people who like to subscribe to supply side economics, which is dumb, also known as voodoo economics, it's demand is what drives economics. So, yeah.
It's a mix of like trying to stay optimistic because if you don't stay vigilant, you know what I mean? Like that's the one thing about them is that no matter what, they are always on the job. And it's like you can't sleep when your enemy is constantly at your heels.
I actually kind of like maybe, jump down the throat of a friend who was talking about they weren't super jazzed to vote this time around. I was like, you know what? The other side is.
Thank you.
You
The
know what
apathy, though.
Yeah,
Like, that's
but
the part
to
that's
me,
hard.
that's part of their
What they
messaging
do.
is to give
Don't
you a
vote.
learned lesson, helplessness. You know what you could do instead of
Let
voting?
us
You
got-
could
we
play
got
2
it.
games of pool.
Yeah.
You know?
Instead of voting.
Yeah, like doesn't that sound like more fun?
It does. But just protect the free press, protect, the people doing the work, and keep your eyes open. Like, that would be my thing. Like, and be sad. Like, I get it. Like, I'm sad too. I feel like, you have to take the time to really take inventory and process and stuff like that. But, like, I feel like what you're always saying is like, well, you got to stay hopeful. And so I'm just going to hit you back with the shit you be telling me.
That's what I sound like.
That's how you be sounding, friend. So it's my turn to be that one.
You do have to remain a soldier until the war is won.
Yeah.
And
it's
like
never
I said,
won.
like I learned that from comic books. You're always fighting evil.
You are.
Whatever. Lex Luthor never takes a day off, or but
black women,
also another
apparently.
thing from comic books. Magneto was right. Peace was never an option.
Oh man. So you guys, I just feel like we had to say that. I mean, it's kind of like the thing. I mean, that's what's going on or whatever. But we're here to kind of
Well, I would
decompress
say
and talk
distract
about
you
something
from that,
fun.
but I feel like
It kind of taps in.
it taps into
taps
a lot of the
in.
themes of this week, but it did have a happy ending to me.
did.
Because
Yeah,
to me, it's not like Meg was ever like truly defeated, but a lot of times she felt like that. But you just have to keep going.
You do. And
That's
so
the only
guys,
way.
here's what we're talking about, because she already jumped into it, but we
Yeah.
are going to be talking about Meg Thee Stallion's documentary. So let me give you a little bit about that today, you guys. So Meg Thee Stallion's new documentary, In Her Words, released on Prime, delves into the rapper's life and her journey to stardom while navigating personal and public challenges. Directed by Nika Anura, the film offers a raw look at Megan's experiences, including the loss of her mother, Holly Thomas, who passed from brain cancer in 2019, and the traumatic fallout from her legal battles, particularly the 2020 shooting incident with Tory Lanez. This vulnerable portrayal covers how these events impacted her mental health, leading to her mental health retreat in 2022 to confront severe anxiety and depression and addressing her struggles with suicidal thoughts. So that's kind of what we're up against, guys, today. But before we kind of get into our episode, let's keep true to form and dedicate this episode. So hands over your hearts, everybody. As always, we want to dedicate this to our patrons. Thank you so much for your continued support. Honestly, your feedback, your conversations, when I say get us together and really make us feel seen and supported, thank you so much. And then I also just want to, this is for you guys, anybody listening, anybody who can hear my voice right now, who has been following our podcast, and you're feeling bummed out about the selection, just keep your heart 3 stacks. It's not over until it's over. And I don't know, like, I'm not going to lay down. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm still going to continue to push. So take the time that you need, process as you need to. But this is life. This is part of it. This is our generation's turn to really see what we're made of and to decide whether or not the way, things have been done in our country is going to continue, or if we're going to shift. So a lot of that is going to be up to us and how we choose to engage with things moving forward. So keep your hearts and heads up, you guys. What about you, friends?
Yes. And my dedication, it's a rededication. I've dedicated to them before, but I feel like I don't do whatever I want. I'm a free woman of color for now.
Yeah.
Nikia Jackson and Calcia Johnson, the 2 girls credited with solving the Pythagorean theorem using trigonometry, have discovered 9 more solutions to the problem. When they did it the first time, it was just on some cute, like we're doing an academic mathematics competition in high school. That was just some high school stuff. They're in college now.
Okay.
So now they're just like, okay, now we can full time like go into our specialty. We've got all the little silly stuff over with. And they like, to me, it's just such a beautiful example of what happens when we let everyone in our society flourish and didn't just decide, well, you're dark and female, so you're just going to clean, okay? And like I said, nothing wrong with cleaning. We need that too.
I wish somebody would come here and do it for me. I ain't gonna lie.
But when you allow people to really open up their possibilities, like we have exceptional people in every population. So I want to keep making sure we can shine a spotlight every time we can on people doing really good work. So dedication over.
Strong J, ladies. Strong J.
Yes,
Very nice.
I love to see it.
Oh my gosh. And so, friend, we're jumping right into this documentary. So I don't know, like I knew she had one, and I'm not necessarily like big on pop culture topics and stuff like that, but I find Megan to be a pretty fascinating character. Entertainer.
Do you remember when she like first came on your radar?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
I remember. I just remember hearing about her, and then I want to say I saw her performance on So I'd heard about her, and then I saw her performance on a late night show.
Was it SNL?
No, it wasn't SNL.
Oh, maybe one of the Jimmy Fallon boys.
One of the Jimmys.
Okay,
maybe.
one of the Jimmys.
And I was like, okay, so this is Meg Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? I thought, okay, she's cute.
I was like, I see why she's popular.
Okay, all right, yeah.
You know what's funny to me? I feel like she really got on my radar. Do you remember when we went to New York?
I do.
Okay. And we were there a Saturday night. We were there the same Saturday night she performed. She wasn't hosting.
Really?
Yes, she performed.
I
Remember she
that
had
was
that
2019.
song? Right.
Let's
it was
go.
like big old freak, big booty, big old treat. Making way for the cookie. Like I really like that because it was Albie Shore's Night and Day was sampled. I think.
Good
Yeah,
song.
so
Yes,
it was.
yes,
So
yes.
it was a lot of things I liked all together, and twerking being one of them.
Yeah, it's fun.
Hey, fun fact: if you're sad, one of the best things for depression, dancing.
It really is. Music.
Yeah,
too.
music and literally twerking, like
Do
not
it.
just dancing, shaking that ass,
In
like
a circle.
because it helps to jiggle your microbiome.
Jiggle it up.
Yeah, jiggle it up. It's hard to feel bad when you're jiggling. So, but yes, and since a lot of her music makes me want to do that, I have a lot of positive feelings around Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah,
but for
man.
other people, they have a lot of negative feelings around Megan Thee
They
Stallion.
really don't like her, man. It's kind of crazy, but
She's like, what did I do?
which is why I think it's like I'm glad that she did a documentary. I will say that I have enjoyed in the past other artists when you get to go behind the scenes and really see.
I used to
everything.
love a Michael Jackson's
Behind the
tour
scenes.
documentary.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
gosh.
goes hard. He was working on one before he died. Remember?
know.
Wait, it did come out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
this is
like,
it.
It wasn't even.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted Michael
Peace
to do it.
to that man.
Peace to Michael.
Because like I said, we don't care about sexual assault, so everybody's back.
Okay.
So
Wow. Well, so like you guys, let's get into it. So the documentary sort of starts off with Meg Thee Stallion sort of talking about her rise to
Oh, actually, I have a little background information about her.
to her rise. So why don't
Yeah,
give us
just so
bit
you
about
know a
Megan.
little
Do
bit
that.
about Meg. So Megan Javon Ruth Pete, known professionally as Megan Thee Stallion, is an American rapper, singer, songwriter. Originally from Houston, Texas, she first garnered attention when videos of her freestyling became popular on social media platforms such as Instagram.
Ew.
And she also, while she was doing all that, like all of the little twerking videos and people calling her a bimbo and stuff, she got a Bachelor of Science degree in Health Administration from Texas Southern University. So yes, let's hear about it. The
Okay.
same place where Beyonce would go and got like inspiration for Homecoming.
Let's go.
So
Because I can do
Ninth
it. I
Ward,
can
I
do,
want to say.
I can do
something
more.
like that. Yeah.
I don't know the wards, but I will tell you this. I really love that, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. So
I don't
yes,
either.
I like
yeah,
that.
because I brought up the fact most rappers that I've heard about don't bother to get their degree while they're still,
No.
making their career.
No.
And I don't know, like, is being in school easy?
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's super time consuming and very difficult. So
Okay.
yeah, which is why a lot of people don't do it. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand. But that makes it all the more impressive because we kind of see, especially in this documentary, they really do hone in all of the hard work that goes into not only being a performer, but being at the level that she ascends to. So
And that level of badness.
yeah.
Like, can I just say, I was really struggling to put any kind of look together today. Because most of my look this week has been, it's been giving sad.
Mine's been giving bags and scrubs.
So, but because I was like, I'm not showing up to talking about Meg Thee Stallion, like not the
looking
hottie
jumpy.
coach.
Not her.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That'd
for
just
sure.
be
Yeah, it
disrespectful
would be. She
because
would be-
do you feel like doing glam every day? So, and even though this is very mid, it's
Listen,
better than where I was before.
Thank you. And that's because of Megan. Yeah, but I think when we talk about somebody like her, I think she ends up being a real polarizing sort of figure because of her optics. So like when I think of, I don't know how old she is now.
29.
Right. So but when she came out, she was like in her early 20s. And,
very young.
You know, like I said, the documentary kind of starts with her kind of ascending, where her career is ascending, but then it kind of goes back to her childhood. And so we're learning a little bit about her inspiration behind why she decided to get into the rap game, which was largely her mom. And I thought this was an interesting sort of...
I like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, her mom
I
was
like
a
getting
rap
to
girl.
know Holly.
Yeah, Holly.
Miss Holly, excuse me.
She was a rap girl. Like apparently she was like
Yes.
really into rap, and you know, she grew up listening to her mom rap and really admiring her mom and wanting to impress her mom. So her mom was a huge part of her career for the whole time.
Can I add too, a lot of the flashbacks were done in anime.
Yes,
which
so
I
nice.
really enjoyed.
I did
that
too.
aspect.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I love the fact that she's an anime girl. That's deeply
Yeah.
relatable. Like, and she had on a couple Rick and Morty shirts too during the thing.
The fact that
and
she
Naruto.
is beautiful, kind of nerdy, I like the multifaceted sort of like.
She's not denying herself anything.
No,
like if I like this,
you.
this is for me.
Listen, if I want to shake that ass, if I want to graduate and get my nursing degree, if I want to be an international rap femme fatale, like I can do all
if I want
of
to
these
rap in
things.
Japanese.
Listen, I can do it all.
Yes.
So it's I really love that, and I think just her seeing her mom, the confidence. You know, she talked about like looking at her mom and being like, "God, she was the most beautiful." Like she took up space, literally and figuratively, like with her raps and stuff. And so,
and her dad too, Joseph Pete. Like it was real brief, but she talked about how like after he died, after getting out of jail, like she was such a daddy's girl. And when he died, it was just such a blow that her and her mom couldn't even really talk about it.
Yeah, that's wild. Because she was like, I don't want to make my mom sad. So I really never brought it up because she saw how hard it hit her, which is, you know, dang, heartbreaking. But also, too, just is a testament to just how impactful, you know, you as a parent showing up for your kids and being involved in their passions and really sort of setting the tone for their mind frame in this world. You know, I feel grateful for her in terms of her parents. Like, even though both of them are gone, I would like to say that I feel like, you know, the impact that they had on her directly and maybe even indirectly is what propels her still now. So that makes me feel happy because I'm like, you know what, like, you know, you never know, like, if the little messages and stuff like that that you're the seeds that you're planting in your kids' hearts and minds
are taking
like, do those really take root? Do those really blossom and bloom? And I think I liked during the course of the documentary seeing her sort of pulling from those things. So,
and
yeah,
I
really
think
beautiful.
the mom, she reminded me of a dance mom.
Okay.
Like, but not a toxic one. You know what I mean? Because she was sort of her coach, encourager, and she's like, oh, you got to work hard in that.
Well, listen, the fact that, so mine was that, like, that was kind of interesting to me too, because that's very different than how I grew up.
Same.
You know, there's lots of respectability politics that were like really
I was
embedded
encouraged to be modest
into my being. So like having like a mom who's like, girl, you ain't, your knees can go down lower, your ass can swing back farther. Like I can't imagine getting those notes, but also, you know what I'm saying? Like,
she was like, I guess at least I can twerk harder than that.
Yeah, and I am.
and I will. And I will. And I will continue to.
Yeah,
as long as I can breathe and kneel.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then so we move into the point where you kind of see her career ascending and like she's getting more popular and stuff. And then all of a sudden, you know, her mom gets sick and gets sent to the hospital. And I mean, she went down quick. She ended up dying of a brain tumor, but like she went into a coma. And
wait, was it a tumor or cancer or both? Like a cancerous brain tumor?
A cancerous tumor, yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And it made me think about how like a lot of the time life is happening where like you might be professionally ascending and hitting these heights, but then like on a personal level, you know what I mean? You're in your darkest space. And I'm like, she was so young going through that. Like, the courage that it takes,
and didn't have her grandma either, because grandma's gone too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like not having any of that former structure that you used to have, support.
Well, and having to be the person to say I'm pulling the plug,
right?
Too.
Not to have anybody to,
the moment you realize it's just you, And you're also
I'm an adult.
I'm like, for real.
Because you never really feel that way until it's like,
Until you're not
I don't
dependent on
have
your parents.
I don't have my daddy, I don't have my mama. Like
It's
it's on me. Actually, it's that was actually on my list before I even watched the documentary to talk about
What's that?
DNRs.
Oh.
Because I didn't get to talk about on the podcast that dinner I went to with 5 strangers, that time left thing. But that was one of the things that came up was DNRs for some reason.
Well, say what DNRs are in case anyone doesn't
do not
know.
resuscitate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically if you get incapacitated, like let's say a brain tumor or something, you become brain dead. You're basically saying like, don't try to intubate me.
Or if I
save
choke
me.
on a chicken bone, and I'm now in the hospital.
Yeah, for whatever
it
reason,
is.
if my mind is gone, like don't do all that stuff to keep
me
breathing
alive.
for me because like my brain can't keep my lungs going anymore. Like if that's what it's come to, it's a dub.
Let me go.
And so we were talking at the table about how we wouldn't necessarily want to ask our kids to do that. You know what I mean? Like, so basically I was just saying, I was like, oh yeah, I would definitely want my best friend in charge of that. Like my like kind of power of the attorney and stuff like that. Yeah, like my living will or whatever. Because I think when it comes to your kids, that's even though it might be the right decision, making
hard.
that decision for your parents. Where I was like, I feel like my best friend would have been like, no, she don't want to live like this.
Yeah, she doesn't want.
We're gonna have to.
And then it's not on your kids too. I think there might be a certain amount of guilt, no matter how necessary it may be. Like being the person to say that and to execute that could also weigh on you. You know what I mean? So like that kind of takes that out. So if you guys don't have wills and stuff like that, you know,
get that in place.
Yeah, man, because it's ever important. But
you don't have to think about it until you do. And then when you're in those positions, you can't say anything.
Exactly.
So
at least be having those conversations.
Yeah. And so I have had that conversation with my kids, but I also don't want to necessarily have that laid at their feet. And I also don't want to be like, what is it called? Like the formaldehyde. What do they do when
embalmed?
Yeah, I don't want to be embalmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it all in writing.
Yeah, I got to get all that in writing. Like I want to decompose.
Yeah, if you have specific stuff you want to have happen, but yeah, it was just wild though, because I just thought, man, like that has to be what a contrast. And I think that is our experience though. Like a lot of the time that is happening. Like you might be, and it's weird too because you know when you're in a celebrity sort of space. Somehow like you're dehumanized to a point where it's like, you know, you're supposed to be a robot, and it's like all we know is you have these shows, you have these obligations, you have all of these opportunities,
and you always look so pretty,
and you always look so and so
like
how
bad
is it
could
that
you
you're
feel?
how
Like
bad
you
could
look
feel?
amazing,
like you live in this house, you're rich, people know who you are, and it's like
no, that kind of sucks.
it's deeply like it's just deeply humanizing to see the behind the scenes stuff. And so my heart went out to her because I thought, man, that had to be just extremely excruciating and difficult. So I like that she shared that, which I'm sure was super duper hard. But then it goes into like after she had that experience, you know, she felt like this personal responsibility to keep going. You know what I mean? And so she was like still touring and stuff and didn't want to stop her shows. Right. And she heard her mom's voice like, nah. And I think her mom even told her before she was like, no, you got to keep working. You got to keep working. So she did. But during that time, because you're compartmentalizing your grief, that turned into alcoholism and her turning up with her friends and drinking and, you know, all of the excitement that her friends had and the people around her, it was like, you know, she's trying to tap into that. She's trying to pretend like she's there. And so she starts highlighting her friendship with Kelsey, who was a young lady who I guess was her friend for years and years. So I wanted to touch in a little bit on that friendship. What are your
quote
thoughts
unquote
on
friendship?
that?
I don't think that was her friend. I think that was just somebody she knew from back in the day. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. It's a sucky thing to realize. Man. Because you want a friend. Everybody wants a friend. You know what I mean? I think about in my life when disastrous things have happened, you've never like, as my friend, been like, well, I told you, bitch. Like it's never, you know what I mean?
I mean, I may have said that, but while I'm still hugging you.
You didn't say it like that. You didn't say it
never say it
at
like
the
that.
crisis time.
Right.
So it's never I want to see bad stuff happen to you.
Never that.
Because
never that. Not if you're my friend.
No,
Never
not
that.
if you're my friend. It's just and I don't think that, because if I could put the timeline together as it looked like it happened to me, or as someone on the outside looking in, it sounds like Kelsey might have been a little jealous, you know, and it seems like when it came to the Tory Lanez thing, because from what I understand, they were like chilling out drinking at Kylie Jenner's house all day. And then on the drive home, they started turning up. And I think Megan had said some things that were derogatory towards Tory Lanez's like rap career. Once again, I'm not super familiar with his work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just seems like a lot of words were exchanged that were hurtful.
Oh, people love him, by the way. Like really, really, like, oh my God, he's, and again, like I don't follow him like that, and I mean, I'm sure he's fine, but
yeah,
there's something about like an assertive, beautiful woman who's taller than you, basically telling you like, bitch,
yeah,
little buddying you in the moment, and then you have massive amounts of alcohol, and it sounds like what came into play also too was that like Kelsey, her friend, had some involvement with Tory that seemed to either be sexual or romantic, and then
in nature,
and then Meg, even though it seemed like they were close friends, at some point they crossed the line and there was some sexual sort of contact there.
But it sounds like Tory wasn't either of their man.
No, he definitely wasn't.
It sounded like it was just some hoe shit. Like it really does seem like what happens a lot. I don't know. Have you ever heard of this happening? Like sometimes in the club, like after everyone gets drunk.
Oh my God.
And there's some sort of argument that sounds relational in nature, and then there are shots fired outside of insert name of club here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Has that ever happened?
It has, but we always leave before then.
Because of you usually.
Maybe,
thank you.
Probably.
Usually you're just like, hey, something is in the air. Let's get
out.
We gotta go. But I've seen, like when I've been out without you before, when a lot of times what would happen though, they get tear gas to spread everybody before it could happen. But I've seen fisticuffs break out, then a titty flies out. It's just like a whole thing.
And I'm not staying around to see it neither. I gotta go.
As
soon as I see any sort of shuffling, it's like we got to get the fuck out of here. We ain't doing all that.
Let there be an ounce of tussling. Let voices get a little high.
Let's go.
It's like
we gotta go.
I've actually not entered clubs when it was just a little too loud.
Yeah.
Like I said, like it wasn't even violent. It was just like you're being too loud right now, and that lets me know you're too drunk to be around.
Well, so this whole thing happens. Clearly, things escalate.
Mm-hmm.
There's some comments made, some feelings hurt.
I love how now people he's locked up and everything. People still can't admit like he fired a gun at her. Because I will admit, like I don't think the bullet hit her. I think what happened is there was ricocheted fragments from the bullet that were found in her foot.
The X-rays were on the documentary.
Do you know anything about X-rays?
I know a little bit about them, and there was shrapnel in her feet. Like there was metal fragments in her feet.
Then why was she dancing later?
And because women we bleed all the time and still do work. What you mean? When has that ever been an excuse for us to stop doing any fucking thing for anybody? Let's stop playing. We're in pain a lot of the time, but nobody gives a fuck, and we know that they don't care. So we continue on. I'm pretty sure they gave her some naproxen and wrapped her feet up and said, "Dance, bitch." And also too, like even if she wanted to stop, that like your livelihood, what you're doing is still tied to a bunch of other people too, right? Like I know that my choreographer, I know that my dancers, I know that the lighting people, I know, like all if I stop, then all of these people stop. So that's a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah.
And so they did kind of show that, but I felt like after all of the stuff went down with Tory, you see her hobbling. You see the blood coming from her feet. You see her laying on the ground. Like you see all of this footage on this documentary. But with her friend, interestingly enough. So let's talk about the little friendship part, right?
Okay.
Real quick. Because what I will say is that I have to acknowledge that like if Meg was, it wasn't anybody's boyfriend, right? This was just,
one of the hoes.
This does happen, and this happens when this happens at a very specific time in your life too. When you're young, this doesn't happen when you're in our stage. This don't happen at this stage. I've witnessed this happen where it's like we're all in proximity of each other. There are young men around us all, and all of them are kind of shooting their shot to see who can do what, right? Yeah. And sometimes you're not aware, sometimes you are, and whether or not you decide to entertain a person who you know is kind of entertaining your friend is sort of a personal boundary thing. Do I respect that? No. Do I think that was a good move or a good look on Megan's part if, in fact, he was talking to Kelsey, let's say first or whatever the fuck, whatever. No. But what I will say too, so I don't respect that and I do think that's some bullshit. So I will acknowledge that. That's not cute. Yeah. But also too, at the end of the day, if this same man who I know was both kind of like playing both of us and was neither one of our men and he shot at my friend, I might not, like, we might have to take a pause. I might not be fucking with you at that point because I'm feeling away, but I'm also not gonna let this. I'm not going on. No. I'm not gonna go to court and act like I don't know what happened. Right. Which I thought was some bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that's not your friend.
And here's the other thing too. You think he's not gonna like do anything to you?
Man, come on now. No, because it's different. He's different for me.
We had a connection.
Got it here. And you wouldn't have had any proximity to this man. If it wasn't for Meg anyway, he wouldn't be checking for you. You're only hot because and not even like that. Not saying like she's an ugly young lady or whatever. Sure, but also you wouldn't even be in this space if it wasn't for your friends. Right. So I don't think that you should let these sort of like, I don't know, ancillaries or interactions with people that you're meeting. Because you're in proximity to fame and wealth, you shouldn't let that like ruin your friendship. So I thought that was really sad, but like you said, that wasn't really
that wasn't your friend.
And those are hard lessons to learn in your 20s.
That was just somebody.
Yeah. And she wanted, and that was the other part that was heartbreaking because she was like, at that time I just lost my mom. I wanted people who I knew were close to me. So that was really kind of messed up. Moving into the trial though, how did you think that went? That was kind of. Because it was 5 months. So, like, in the documentary.
I want to jump up a little.
Yeah, let's.
Well, I don't know where this is. So, I'm going to say, like, all of the black male celebrities who raised their voices in a chorus to be like, this bitch is a liar. Why is she doing this to this innocent black man? So, which I feel is a very popular sentiment. It's something I had to listen to a lot from men that I know. Not all of them, but a lot of them. To me, it was surprising because, people get shot all the time over some stuff like that. Because when people wanted to act like it was this huge bomb, like on Gayle King, when she, once again, like, you made a mistake. Like,
well, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So she goes on Gayle King, right? And this is sometime after.
And she didn't know she was going to be asked this question, which to me is kind of like, then that's not really cool. Because this is like a bombshell question, right? Like, you probably got some intel ahead of time about this and didn't discuss it with her. So we've had guests before. Like, that's not usually how you treat your guests.
I think two things are true. I think one is, as a journalist, it's your job to ask people the hard questions, especially somebody like Gayle King. Also, I feel like when you're bringing people on your platform, if you know those hard questions are the questions that people want to know, I'm going to look at my guests and say, hey, these are the questions that I want to ask. Like, are you comfortable with this? And if you didn't specifically say an open case that had not been settled, and also too, what I don't understand is why it was relevant if she had sex with this man.
Right, because I think it doesn't make him I think it makes him more likely to shoot her.
Period.
In real life. Like, that's a very real thing. So, to me, making it seem like, he wouldn't have shot her if they were sleeping together, it's like, that hasn't been.
No, it would make him even more mad if he was.
Yeah.
Somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because.
But I think the point that people were trying to make with that was like, if she lied about it, then she's not a credible source. Now, everything that she's saying has to be a lie because she lied about that. And honestly, if I was her, I can't say at her age and with everything going on, I don't know that I wouldn't have been like, hell no.
Well, she kind of Bill Clinton did because
I did not have sexual relations with that man.
Like sexual, because I didn't.
And it's none of your business.
Well,
period. That's what I would have said.
I would have been like, I don't really want to talk about the specifics of my sex life right now.
Right. This has nothing to do with the case, but he did shoot me though. If you're asking me that question.
If you're asking me that, then I can clearly let you know that. But the sex life thing, I didn't like a lot of stuff about that, but I regret that she like lied, but I don't have the moral confidence to be like, I would have told the truth.
I can't either.
And I would have, and it depends on how you define a sexual relationship. If I only had sex with you like 1 or 2 times.
What do the poor mind girls say? They say it's 3 no matter what. That's always the number. It's like, no, he didn't fall into the 3.
So then you're just a one-off. That's not a relationship.
You weren't my man, so it doesn't count. Right. Who knows?
Because relationship might have been what she was stuck on. It's like, I would not have called myself in a relationship with this man, sexual or non-sexual. You know what I mean? Because you can have a relationship with someone without sex.
I just don't think it was anybody's business. I do think that
it was unfortunate because I think someone, and I still like Gayle King. I just think that
for sure.
For someone like her who has the wisdom and experience that she has, that asking someone in this situation a question like that with no prompt.
A young woman, especially with the kind of platform she has, you know how that's going to skew. People are already going to say, well, she already rapping about her booty cheeks being spread and flapping and stuff like that. So what's the big deal? Why can't she talk about who she's fucking? Well, I can tell you this. I'm Megan Pete, a person, right? Outside of my persona that I present, which is Meg Thee Stallion. Like, that is a character that I build up, and that character is this. That could be still something separate. So like, I just feel like sometimes we're not allowing celebrities to have their own personhood.
Yeah.
And as an older woman asking a younger woman in that position, I do feel like, damn, like, you know, I wouldn't have blindsided her with that question. I would have asked her, like, look, this is my job. And so people are wanting to know, how comfortable are you talking about this?
Right.
What can I ask you about this? What are
I
you willing
feel like
to say?
the fact that she doesn't have her mom anymore, because a lot of times your manager would negotiate that ahead of time, what is and isn't allowed to be asked. For example, when Donnie went on the different podcasts before the election, I'm pretty sure there was a no talking about Epstein rule, because it never came up.
Right. Even though y'all are BFFs per him.
Right.
Recorded
Which everybody been wanting to talk about Epstein all the time, but for some reason everyone just clammed up about it.
There's nothing.
Because he has a manager.
Yeah.
Who like a social. He's got so much staff that's handling it, and she's just out here by herself. So for that part, I get why people been like, okay, well, she's a liar. But I'm like, but you know who's not a liar? The surgeons. The
medical records,
the video, the video. Like I said, the call of him calling to apologize.
Yeah, that part.
Because to me, that got a lot of juice to back off. Not all of them, but enough that were unsure before. Once again, who couldn't be swayed to believe that a woman could be telling the truth. You would think that all the men in prison are in prison because of women lying about them. Because everyone just automatically believes a woman when she says she's assaulted,
like
which is not the case, especially when she's assaulted by a powerful or famous person. I would like to think there's plenty of people who are still in large positions of power after being credibly accused by multiple women. So you can elect them sometimes.
But also, too, when you see that is sort of the general rule that, like, if you're a powerful man, or if you have any sort of money or influence in any particular space that you take up, it's like, well, shit, he didn't have to be accountable, so why should I? And you saw that play out, like, after the fact. He really played that sort of.
I didn't know a lot. Okay, so you said you learned some words from this?
No, not from this.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, well, I learned some things from this documentary, which was, because like I said, I'm not super familiar with Tory Lane's catalog. So when they were showing like the videos of him like chopping up horse legs in the video, I was like, whoa, dude, you are.
And you did it. That's what's so fucking wild. Like, you did it. So we're talking about her saying like, yeah, I didn't fuck this guy.
Well, she didn't say she didn't fuck him. She said she didn't have a sexual relationship with him.
She said what she said about him. And then here you are, though, knowing the actual truth. But, like, you're now presenting this whole thing like,
he's never even heard of her. Yeah.
I'm like, and then you got all these, like you said, you have a army of rap-ins who are willing to sign off on
in the podcast, the manosphere,
the manosphere,
the manosphere is coming down and be like, and then the women who love them are also caping for all of this too. So all these women, it would be very strange for me too to hear women who were so hard on her, because I'm like, you're very similar, don't you know? Like, did you not know that you're a single woman in this world? Like, you're basically, you have zero value. You're just, when it comes down to you're one incident away from this.
You're not a high value
Except you don't
woman.
have the. I mean, Megan, with everything she's going through, still had a tremendous amount of privilege.
Yeah, she did.
You know what I mean? Like, even being able to, like, when she does have to step away for the mental health stuff, like, not everybody can do that.
Yeah, it's true. Because that takes resources. And I think that was part of the reason why she felt like, I have to fight this, even though I feel like I'm tired, I'm getting dragged.
Yeah, like going into court, she's like, I'm not the only one going through this.
No, and you do recognize that, like, yo, people are going through this every day, and they don't have the resources I have to fight it in court, or even just have a team of people helping hold me up so that I can still do my job, but then also still on the back end, fight for what I know is like the truth and try to represent that. So
and I like to keep in mind too, I hate false accusations, because it does make credible accusations that much harder to prove.
Yep.
But to me, it was just so obvious this wasn't a fake accusation. Like when fake accusations come up, it's usually pretty clear because people are going off of their fantasy of what they think assault is.
And a lot of the time too, let's talk about it, when you're talking about people who say falsely get accused of rape or something like that, sexual assault, is usually like underage girls, like, who are scared they're going to get in trouble from their parents and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Or to bring up what happened to Patrice O'Neal when he got locked up because he was accused of sexual assault when he didn't. It was actually consensual. It was. Oof. Do you want to guess the color of the woman?
Oh man,
made
I was going to say probably some racist stuff, right? Like you don't want your daddy to find out or whoever.
Well, you don't want your peers to find out because it was a gangbang.
Oof.
Yeah. And so one of the participants in the gangbang, wanted to brag about it. So she didn't go to their school, but it got around to one of the dudes at her school. And he was like, I'm going to need you to suck my dick or I'm going to tell everybody what you did. And then all of a sudden the tears came down and it was like it was rape. And so now all those dudes are locked up.
Yeah, and that's messed up.
Yeah.
We do not condone that at all. So, yes.
I'm just saying just the way it usually goes because then that's the police are going to take that seriously as opposed to usually when I hear the story when it happens to young girls of color, she was just being a slut. Yeah. Even when it was non-consensual because a lot of times what happens, it is a very young girl who thinks she has a boyfriend. You bring some friends in. It wasn't really what you planned on. And,
bada boom, bada bing.
Bada boom, bada bing. And trust me, ain't nobody really trying to see it for you.
Gosh, so sad.
Anyway,
okay, so after the whole trial and everything, he gets locked up, right? 10 years?
Yeah, he's still locked up now.
He's still locked up now. Yeah.
Actually, let's find out what he did get accused of because I feel like when I was listening to an episode of Bellies and Bullshit, they were trying to say he didn't get locked up for shooting her. It was just for having a firearm.
Okay, well.
So let's see what the magic rectangle says.
Ooh, this sounds like some beef you're trying to have with Bellies and Bullshit.
I am. What does it take to get a beef in this town?
I don't know.
Why did
oh my God, what are the charges?
Tory Lanez, I don't know how to spell it, Lanez, go to prison. Okay.
Daystar Peterson was convicted of 3 felony charges on 2020 for the 2020 shooting of Meg Thee Stallion: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded, unregistered firearm in the vehicle, discharging a firearm with gross negligence.
Yeah, I think that's another way of saying shooting. Once again, I will concede he was just shooting at her. The bullet did not directly hit her. It hit the pavement and the fragments went into her foot.
Right. But and he probably was just trying to intimidate her, but also too pulling out a gun. My great grandma said, if you pull a gun out, empty the clip and point it directly at the person. Don't play no games. Like if you're gonna pull your gun out, you shoot to kill. You're
not Yosemite Sam.
This isn't just like the police do.
Right.
They're not trying to If
you pull out your weapon, you need to shoot it, and if you need to shoot it, you need to kill.
And if
you don't shoot, there's no warning shots aren't a thing.
So
warning shots aren't a thing. So if you're drunk, if you're a drunk Canadian coming into our country, we just had this whole big election with people being so mad about immigrants. You want to talk about immigrants coming into the country? I'm sure a lot of the people who voted for Trump are the same ones talking about Tory Lanez didn't do anything. He's not even American. He came over here, shot one of our American pop stars.
Yeah, one of our faves.
And you're just cool with it. Interesting.
The shooting occurred at the Hollywood Hills July 12, 2020 after a party at Kylie Jenner's home. Prosecutors say Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion in the feet after she criticized his rap skills. She still has nerve damage. But of course, though, honestly, think about
why do you rap at her?
Y'all should have just had a cipher right there. Right. A drunken cipher right in front of Kylie's house.
But I think he knows he would lose. And but you know how I don't lose? I just kill you.
Just shoot. But think of hurt feelings, like men getting their feelings hurt.
What are you talking about? Men aren't emotional. It's women who are emotional, Moni. Silly Moni. Sorry, guys. She's just being emotional right now. Men don't get emotional.
That was my fake gun for guys. If you're just listening, I just shot Kat because she's making fun of me. It's like, see how silly that is?
You know what? I deserved it.
So stupid.
All that shooting for talking is fair.
Now look at you. You're dead.
Look at you.
It's like, man, we just can't do that. And I will say too that like, you know, him, I don't know his age at the time too, but again, like this is some drunken fucking shenanigans of
very young
young people, and it's like you hate to see when these things happen. And the most regretful thing in my mind is like, why not have just stayed apologetic and went on that? Like, I think that when he recognized that he had social media going up for him, he was like, yo,
let me double down on this.
I can just,
because you know what, niggas get away with it a lot.
All
Actually,
the time.
Here's one of my favorite things from the documentary.
Okay.
I actually, this is actually from Elle magazine when they're takeaways. There was some video of P. Diddy. Anybody remember P. Diddy, Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
Here's a quote from when he was talking about it on a web show.
I think they were on IG.
Talking about, Lane, you're one of my favorite R&B artists, before adding, you know, I got a mean toxic side. Really, Diddy?
Between Diddy and Lanes, with Diddy telling him, you're one of my favorite R&B artists. Before ominously adding, wow.
You know, I got a mean toxic side. Yeah, so, but once again, think about how long Diddy got along, or, you know, away with it.
Well, and I do.
And he shot a woman in the face.
He did, and it's like when.
And nobody cares. She was black, so don't worry. Like, you don't have to worry about it.
When that toxic sort of, I don't know, environment is just all around, it's pervasive. Like, yeah, you recognize very quickly where we all we fall into these roles, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm the guy who gets to like, oh, shoot a girl and and then that'll be my thing. Because you've seen Puff Daddy do it. You've seen other artists probably do it. Like,
and honestly, I don't know why it was so hard to believe a rapper got shot. Can you name 3 rappers who got shot right now?
Oh man, and killed or just
shot.
Well, obviously Biggie and Tupac, and oh my gosh, the one in L.A. who was with oh my gosh, the cute one with the dimples. You guys,
Nipsey.
Thank you, Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey. I thought you were gonna say 50 Cent. I'm surprised you didn't say 50 Cent because you love him so much.
Well, I was thinking about all the ones who died. Well, it's 50 is just a troll. I'm scared of him. I think that's what it is.
Fair.
I'm fucking scared of that man.
Sometimes fear is wise.
Yeah, I wouldn't want no smoke with him. But also, he can just be borderline problematic.
But once again, though,
not that he's not hilarious and apt.
I was just making the point. A lot of rappers get shot, and we're never like, he didn't get shot.
Man, come on, man.
Why is he still walking around if he got shot?
He got shot.
Okay.
Tupac was like,
he was still rapping. If he's rapping, if he got shot in the mouth, why can he still rap?
Thank you. In his chest, why is his lungs collapsed?
Or it also makes me think a lot of Trevor Noah's mom.
Oof.
I shouldn't just say Trevor's name now. Patricia, son of Patricia. Shout out to Miss Patricia, a survivor. Got shot in the head.
Domestic violence.
And survived it. Went through her nasal passages.
Man.
Niggas is hard to kill. Because, listen, they're trying to kill us all the time.
It's just sad.
It is very sad. So, yes. And she, if you can believe it, shot by someone she was sleeping with.
Yeah. Again, which is why it's not.
For trying to leave. Huh. It's so weird. Like, because it wasn't like she was rushing Tory Lanez.
Back was turned.
She was walking away. She was like, and then they're like, why did she get back in the car with him? Did you think she wanted to ride with the police? Women.
And she was trying to protect him too. That was the other part that was crazy to me. When they first asked her, she lied about. So there's a couple lies. So she did lie when the police were like, well, what happened? And she was like,
I just stepped on some glass.
This was just after George Floyd. Everything was politically heightened. She was like, and let's talk about it. We're, as black people, we be terrified of the police. And especially when it's like, I'm a high profile person. This shit is happening in the Hollywood Hills and shit, or wherever the hell.
And there is a hip hop squad of police who do target black artists, like black hip hop artists.
We just talked about
Did you see the Young Thug trial?
No.
Oh, we could do a whole episode about that trial.
No.
Oh,
but what I will say is that
they tried to.
She was trying to protect this man.
Yeah,
she was trying to protect
and
this
herself.
Right, obviously, but I'm saying specifically to the point of like one of the lies was specifically said to, in your mind, protect this man, and then he turned around and used that against you because it's like she even said, you know, she didn't. She didn't want you to go to jail. Like, I mean, y'all both recognize at some point, like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, this is embarrassing. This is crazy. This isn't great for either of our... How great would it be
for us to... I'm sure you're in your... This is so common after you're assaulted. You just want to forget about it.
I just want to pretend
you just want to go into denial. I don't want to talk about this again. I don't want to write a report. I don't want to go to court.
It's embarrassing.
I don't want to do any of this stuff. I want to move on. And unfortunately, that wasn't an option for her.
No, it really, really wasn't. So, yeah, that was another little side point. But so after all of that, you know, you see her go to trial, you see her speak up for herself. and really be able to kind of tap into her mom's energy and just sort of reclaim it. She was like, you know what, I'm trying to be this strong person. I'm trying to embody all of this. You know, I think as women too, a lot of the time, it's like, I got to be this super woman. I mean, life does require that from you a lot of the time.
Every day is a fight.
Every day's a fight. But I like that she was like, I finally was just like, I don't need to be strong in this moment. I can feel how I feel, and I can just speak my truth. And
deeply
if
relatable.
That makes me vulnerable, if that makes me weak, whatever it is what it is. But this is what happened. And so I felt good for her. Like when the verdict came and she was like crying and stuff, I was like, oh man.
I think my favorite quote from the documentary was, I be going through shit, but I be getting through shit.
Yeah,
that was
so
to
cute.
Me was the that's what I took away from it.
Yes.
And I really needed to hear that this week and kind of see that play out, because there's no glory in giving up.
No.
Even though I joke all the time I love giving up, because I do.
Yeah,
I do. Because sometimes it's like, when is it letting go and when is it giving up? Because some stuff you do need to let go of, you know, and
not everything you're gonna fight for, but yeah, no one went like that does take some lived experiences, and so you know all of this stuff. Just seeing her go through all of that was kind of like, man, like this is, you know, we read that one book where what was it, friends? She was talking about just how females in the industry and stuff get dragged down, because we talked about Britney Spears.
Train wreck.
Thank you. Jeez, see, this is why I keep her around. Train
and
wreck.
I'm drunk.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm not drunk. But yeah, like I do think that there is this certain fascination with when you see women ascending to these certain spaces, we want to take them down, or we don't want to see them there. I mean, I think that was kind of a little the ethos behind why, you know, America's still not ready to have female leadership. Like we really don't feel comfortable with having like strong women, unapologetic women, smart women in the forefront, because
they're witches.
They're witches. And I mean, there's some insecurity there, right? Like I think it's sometimes, and especially if I'm pointing out to you where you're fucked up, you don't want to hear that coming
witch
from
thinks
me.
she's better than me.
Yeah. And I might know that I am.
And actually though, what is wrong with having people better than you in charge?
It happens all the time.
I think she was better than me. People better than me should be running the government, y'all.
Yeah.
That dude is worse than I am.
Yeah. And that does not make me feel
good. That does not bode well.
No, it doesn't.
No,
it really doesn't.
Yeah, let the smart nerds run stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And then let the hot jocks do sports. It would be like if I was coming into sports and trying to get rid of all your sports people and be like, no, put smart people in charge. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Man.
And then you're coming into politics being like, no, get these smart people out of here. I want Mr. who says whatever I like in charge. It's like, what? That's bad. I'm sorry. I went back there.
No, it's true, friend. It's true.
Yeah, it's
very,
real.
very
It's real bad though. But
so, what did you think about the ending of the documentary? Like,
I liked it. It left me feeling positive, and it made me want to go. I forgot she had so much music. You can say a lot of stuff about Megan Thee Stallion, and y'all have, but what you can't say about her is she's lazy.
No.
Ain't nobody said that.
No.
Like, she is out here, and I really like the song Hiss. When she released that song, I play that song a lot.
Do you?
It does. It gets me right together, because it's like every line it's true. Like that.
She didn't even have time for a hook.
She didn't even have time.
She said, "I just got bars for you.
Just bars
today.
Just bars." It's like, you know what? I ain't got to clear my name. I'm not on trial.
Yeah.
I didn't try to. Because here's the other thing. Let's just say he wasn't trying to kill her. He could have.
On accident.
Keep in mind, too, y'all leaving Kylie Jenner's house, y'all in a white neighborhood.
Acting out. No home training.
Because that's white. Now, if it had been a black neighborhood, we might never heard about it. Because you
that's
know
true.
who, I don't think, Megan didn't call the police.
No. I don't know who did that. Yeah, it's just, I am glad that it sort of, you know, ended on a high note in terms of like seeing her win the trial, and then also seeing her continue to persevere in her career and still sort of not lose, you know, because that's the thing, like you get everything you want in life. Like she had worked so hard to do this thing. Like she loved rapping, she loved performing, she got to live her dreams. And then it's like, it's wild to like be living your dreams and then simultaneously like
living your nightmare,
living an actual nightmare. And then like having millions of people tapping in and not believing you, and how disorienting that can be, because it tapped in a lot on the mental health aspect. And I do think this is why we see a lot of celebrities and stars, you know, with having mental health breaks or, you know, needing. And I'm glad that she shared that, like, hey, I took a month off. And I'm glad to see that the people in her camp supported that for her and was like, yeah, then take the time you need, because I don't care what sphere you're in, whether it's, you know, doing hair, a teacher, whatever. Like when you hit that point where you know, you can't get out of bed or you're just weary. You have to acknowledge that, and you do have to pull back, and you do have to save yourself in those moments. You really do have to carve out that time. And so I think
you're worth
that
saving.
Like
I think what I took from it was like Meg was worth saving.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people were they would have been happy to see her.
Oh yeah, because that's the fun, right? Like even in
Yeah.
Trainwreck, that's the fun. Like let's build these people up so that we can shoot them down, because that gets to be the fun part. But
And that's
like,
what she gets for saying my body, my choice.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what she gets for getting all these,
That's what you get
women
for
all
shaking that
ugly.
ass.
Yeah, and not
On the
giving it to me.
interweb.
Like
Yeah.
like I said, like all of that. Because I didn't talk about it on the regular show.
What's that?
This was also possible dedication material, but Ahu Daryai. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but I'm a drunk American.
The worst kind.
The worst kind. But this was a very brave young woman in Iran. Is it Iran or Iran?
I think it's Iran.
Iran, who staged her own protest of the hijab laws. Because I know, like, when we're painting this picture of diversity, I do want to see all people in it. And a lot of times when you want to show like Muslim, you show the hijab. But just know for a lot of women, that's not optional. If you're optionally wearing the hijab, more power to you. But for all the girls who don't want to, you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
So, over there, if you don't wear the hijab,
It's a problem.
you get beaten up, basically. So she was beaten and locked up. She's in a psych ward right now because they're like, the only way you would want to exercise your freedom is because you're crazy. And keep in mind, people always want to think, well, they're so backwards and they're the wrong religion, so that's why they're messed up. Don't ever think for a second this can't happen here. This is a much older civilization who decided to let their religious nationalists run the country. And this is the result. So
tread lightly. And it's a slippery slope. And so I was like, man, maybe I'll just start, when people ask me how I'm doing, I'm gonna be like, blessed be the fruit.
Yes.
Throwback to
Blessed
Handmaid's
be.
Tale.
Right.
Because,
under his eye.
Yes.
Under his eye. Under his eye. So I don't, like I said, I'm a big fan of religious freedom. So everybody should be able to do what they want to do and not be forced to do like somebody's version of what they think religion is.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, once again, I'm an American. I wasn't raised like that. Like that we just all do. It's like, well, it'll just be easier if we just let the men be in charge and we're under their protection and then they love us the way Jesus loved the church. It's like, I mean, you do that if you want to do that. I don't want to.
Well, I want to select the men personally who I feel like represent me. And then when I see somebody who doesn't represent me,
you out of here.
Feeling like,
I'm not just doing it because you said so. Yeah. And to you, God is only male. Like he's got a dong, y'all.
Wow. And so on that note, what else? Is there anything else about the documentary you want to touch on? Look at your notes real quick. Make sure we didn't skip anything, because I think this might be a great time to take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay. You guys, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. We're back from our break. Yeah, man, this was, what a documentary. I think, like on our break, I was kind of talking to you about a little bit. I don't know. So there's some hypocrisy here, right? Like when we think about rap music, when we think about explicit content, like I know growing up for sure, like.
Wait, did you hear hypocrisy or hypocrisy?
Both.
That was awesome.
Thank you. So it made me think about, though, okay, so I'm thinking about, I came up at a time where things like Snoop was wild,
The
like
Chronic.
Doggy Style, The Chronic,
Project Pat.
Even
Hot
Trina,
Boys.
yeah, the Hot Boys. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of other, Lil Kim.
Yeah.
You know, we're at the apex of what rap music was and stuff like that. And so, like, yeah, you have explicit lyrics. You have things that are, like, basically in your face. The stuff that we don't really talk about, but it's like, yo, we all know about it. They're rapping about it. It's pop
Too
culture.
short.
Too short. Bitch.
Yeah. Blowjob Betty was it's about
Definitely.
And who did she swallowed it? Who was that?
Oh, my God.
I can't remember it, but I remember hearing it a lot outside. It's the world's biggest dick.
Oh, wow.
Don't matter, just don't bite it. I remember as a child, I was very much a child. This was just in the streets, like it was coming from the cars.
So what's interesting is that, you know, if you listen to sort of the commentary around explicit content today, especially as it relates to female MCs, you would think that Meg Thee Stallion was like like she originated this stuff.
Yeah, the nasty. Yeah, she invented talking about sex in
You know what
rap.
I mean?
Yeah,
And so
that was her, because usually they don't let you stay in rap.
you don't
if you
get
rap
to
about
do that.
sex.
No, this is my first
and your
time.
sexual prowess.
Yeah. So it's kind of wild, though, like that double standard that exists when we talk about women, you know, sort of embracing their sexuality. Now, what I will say, again, having grown up the way that I did, you know, and having brothers too, like I never was super comfortable with leading with my sexuality in an overt way.
And when you understand it, you know you don't have to. Like, you don't have to help men think about sex.
No. That was the thing I didn't like. I didn't like getting reduced down to that when it's like, bitch, I could outthink you in this. I could actually, like, I have points and stuff, and I'm funny, and I'm, you know, there's other things, but also too, I'm not necessarily pushing that on anybody else. Like, again, I feel like when you have rap and stuff like that, or you're an act, like, you are creating this caricature around who you are. And so for me, I'm not gagged that she's using her sexuality, Meg Thee Stallion that is, because she's a beautiful woman and she feels confident, and she's like in her 20s. Like, you're in that space where it's like, I'm never gonna be this young and beautiful. I'm talking my shit today. Okay, so
you should be getting it while the getting is good. That was a Too Short song.
Thank you.
You should be getting it. You should be getting it. Get money. I'm talking to you, black. Don't laugh. It ain't funny.
It ain't funny.
You should get a good lawyer like Johnny Crockett.
And she did.
Yeah.
But when it's her, it's different though.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because you mentioned this before. It was like, you know, she got there were a lot of men in the industry who felt a way about Meg and had a lot of opinions before like the verdict came out. And I was thinking to myself, so what do you chalk that up to, friend? Like, why do you think that is?
What, the pearl clutching? When
Yeah.
Now that,
Oh
like,
my God,
that's specifically,
Meg.
I love Snoop. Let me put that out there first. But I was very surprised to see Snoop being one of the people who were like, oh no, some things should be private. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, didn't you have a line of pornos that you produced talking about privacy? Okay. And the classic Doggy Style, I would say
It ain't
they're
no fun if the homies can't have.
I promise whenever I hear that song in my head, I picture Muppets, because it's just so you ain't no
Guess who's
fun.
back in the motherfucking house with a fat, you know what, for your motherfucking mouth. Recognize, due to, I mean, it was very.
And then, like, just have and keep in mind, too, to me, what's interesting is that when it was mostly just men saying this, like I said, when Lil' Kim came out, it was like, whoa, okay, now we're talking back.
Yeah.
Or Roxanne Shante, to take it back even
She
further,
did, yeah.
because there was all, you know, she did that in one take. Look her up. That girl was
good.
bad.
Like,
to
the
me,
whole
that was
documentary.
Yeah.
It was really good.
To me, it was the blackest girl thing ever. It's like, in between loads of laundry, I'm going to record this hit rap song.
Okay.
Like,
boom.
like, wowzers. But, like, I never internalized it like, oh, they're being so misogynistic. For one, I'm constantly bombarded with misogyny. It's America. And it's like, it's not like hip hop invented misogyny. They just made it really catchy. But also, I didn't see myself in the women they were talking about. Like, I wasn't like they're talking about me. Like, they were talking about them hoes.
I was like, oh.
And I'm like, I don't know why men, when Megan's talking about these simp ass dudes, like, why do you feel attacked? Like,
she ain't she ain't talking to you then.
yeah, like
if
if you don't identify as that, then that's not you.
Right.
But you've met simp ass dudes though, right?
And
Like,
this is apparently what's
shall we not
happening.
talk about them?
Yeah. I mean,
They're
it
too
makes for good
gentle. They're too
context.
gentle. Don't talk about the simps. They can't
Yeah.
take it.
Well, they
They're
really
too-
can't. They start shooting at you.
That's true.
It's really, I mean, maybe
That is-
they're onto
yeah.
something. But that's just it, though. It's like it just turns into this sort of prideful posturing where it's like, you're wagging your finger at somebody for doing something, and even if you're not
That
the
you
one
got
directly
rich doing.
you got rich doing, and it's like, okay, but I think part of that is kind of like when we talked about the Jay-Z story. Remember, we were like, well, how would it be different now if Jay-Z wrote a book and how he now doesn't use bitch or whatever because
Yeah,
he has daughters, and it's like,
Well, they're people now.
they're people now, and I think too that's probably the evolution of where Snoop Dogg is now. Like at a certain point in his career, when he was where she was at the same age, he was talking his shit too, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I do feel like at a certain point, whether you like it or not, or whether you feel like it's the best representation of our community or of women or men or whoever, I think you have to look at it like it's a snapshot of a time and a space in people's lives. Like this doesn't define all of a Black experience, all of a woman's experience, all of anybody's experience.
It kind of does though. Sex?
No, I mean like.
Oh, just the rapping of it.
Yeah, just the rapping of it, or just centering in the music. No,
we've read
centering
some
in the
books
music.
from the 17th century, and this was still a key.
Sex is always
theme.
something we're going to talk about, so let's
Yeah.
not act gagged. But I just mean in terms of like, like what I talk about and what I like when I'm 20 is going to change for when I'm 40. So like having Snoop in his 50s being like at Meg when she's in her 20s on her hot girl shit.
Come
it's like, nigga, come
on.
on now. You was up here talking about gag on it. And you again had a compilation of your rap songs going to hardcore porn. So it's a little bit tone deaf when
like it was
we're
cool
like-
for you to come up off of it.
Yeah,
So
but
now
now
when she's
it
doing
stops
it,
because she's- and
this
it's
is
like-
the line.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I really liked that she said in the documentary too, I think she was doing a radio interview and she was like, well, if you're honest with it, everybody's a hoe. And I was like, interesting point, Meg. Like, it's like we all enjoy sex. Like, I think that's what she was saying as far as
because I'm about to say, I don't agree with that. I don't think everybody's a hoe. I just think we
Most
all
people are.
embody our sexual energy. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, so define a hoe though.
Right.
Like, is that just being in
Well,
tune with yourself sexually?
I would. The world
not
is
everybody's
filled
out
with
here.
pimps and hoes,
It
and we'll
is.
just talk about those. I know, like, you know what I mean. Like, I'm just talking about my experiences. I've seen it. Is, for instance, I think we just elected a hoe. Like and the fact that a lot of what was being accused, thrown in Kamala's direction, was that she slept her way to the top. That was the thing I heard over and
Judge
over
Joe
again
Brown
from
literally
people.
called her a hoe. We played the audio last week.
Where it's
or 2
like,
weeks ago.
I don't see a lot of evidence of that, where I see a ton of evidence that his hoe ass was a hoe.
And then you
Like, so
you
much of the
know.
beefs you've created and lawsuits have been over hoe shit. So, messy hoe shit too, because you don't have to be a messy hoe.
No, you could just
You could
hush.
be an ethical hoe.
Yeah.
You could be, there's all kind of hoes you could be, but
Yeah.
you're choosing to be the type of hoe you want to be. So,
All I'll say is that, I'm glad that Meg, this whole documentary just sort of showed the highs and lows of the human experience, and she was able to sort of amplify that with her platform. So I was grateful to be able to see the behind the scenes. I love tapping into people's stories and kind of seeing it. And again, of course, like it's coming from her vantage point, so whatever. But I still appreciate that because I know all of the stuff that I hear without having heard her voice directly. So I think adding her voice to the story directly and giving her a chance to sort of speak to
as Megan
her
P.
experience, as her who she is outside of like this character or caricature, this aspirational caricature that she's built for herself.
Who would your character be? Like your alter ego, like Moni's alter ego.
Ooh, I think it would
Like
be
your rap name.
Wow, I don't know, but it would be like something with Beast or like something it would be something physically strong because again, my fantasy is to morph into the most physically impressive specimen you've ever seen and be able to bop or whatever. Like just
Like the Hulk?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
You know
used
I
to be my
fantasize about this.
favorite. That was one of my favorites growing up,
Yeah.
like the Hulk. Like
'Cause
I
that's
love that idea of
I love it because that's the only thing that I
Smash.
feel like men feel like they've got on us. Because when we outperform, like, and I'm not even saying like we outperform y'all. But like statistically, I think that doesn't seem to be a point of contention when it comes to men and women. When it's in terms of like when you see the statistics of certain demographics, reaching their educational goals and pursuing businesses and advancing in certain areas. If you start feeling like those groups are taking that away from you, and I don't care what group it is you're talking about, whether that's immigrants, women, whoever, you start feeling the way, you internalize that, and that's when I'm shooting at you. Because I see that you can rap better than me and you taller than me.
Can I? This reminds me of a story. You've met my daughter.
I have.
She's lovely. When she was younger, she used to do triathlons.
Yes.
So, when you get towards the last part of the triathlon is the running part, right? You swim, bike, run. So, I'm at the finish line cheering her on. She's doing the last little leg of it. And there's a young man. I won't say what color he is. You can guess. And he sees that he's about to lose to her. But once again, you never know who started when, though. You could still technically be having a shorter time, even if she crosses the finish line before you or whatever. He wasn't trying to see her cross the finish line before him. So he cuts across the lawn. Like he goes outside the rat. Huh? Yes, that is another word for it. Yes, cheats. Okay. Yes, he cheats. All right. And she clocks it and picks up her pace and still beat him.
Let's go.
And still beat him. I was super proud of her in that moment. And actually earlier that day, I felt, because we were in a Columbus, Indiana. So, the population. And at one point, really hated this. A older gentleman, you can guess what race he was or what color he was, came by and touched her braids. And in that moment, I had to decide whether or not I was going to ruin this day or just keep it pushing. In that moment, I wish I could have turned into the Hulk and did him like Loki, like how the Hulk did Loki.
And just tossed him so far that where did he
even go? Yeah, because I would just want her to learn that's a perfect, because it just to erase the mystery, this was an older white man. But just switch it in your mind. Like if this had been an older black man doing that to a young white girl.
Oh, he'd have been in jail or hung or something.
Yeah. So,
well, good for her. I'm glad she still smoked his ass.
Yeah.
And
even with cheating, but in real life though, usually they're cheaters, man.
All I know is I felt, I had a positive feeling at the end of it because watching her go through all of that was really painful, but I thought it was artfully done. I really did enjoy the note that you made with the animated sort of parts of it. And it really showed her personality. And nobody's perfect. I hope that, she's learning in her journey and fortifying her experience as a woman in the world, because it's just not easy. That's the thing. I think women, all we want is to be seen, and it's not easy, and we try so hard. Most of the time we're really trying hard to hit all of the points, right? We're trying to be the best moms, the best friends, the best career people, and we want to really have it all. And so to see this young woman striving to be great and do that without the support of people like her mom and her dad and finding her way, to me it was very inspirational. So regardless of whether or not you feel like it's appropriate for her to be shaking that ass on the screen or whatever, I just don't feel like that defines her as a person. And we get to decide what we take in and what we don't. If it's not for you, if her artistry isn't for you, you don't have to look at it.
It's pretty avoidable.
You don't have to watch it.
There's lots of artists I don't like. Like I said, I've never heard any song by Tory Lanez.
So
I managed to avoid that.
Yeah.
I heard he's good though.
I'm sure. Again, just because he's shitty in this way doesn't mean he's non-shitty in other ways.
But also know you can make music in jail. I've seen people do it.
Yeah, I think that he was trying to, and they shut that shit down.
Oh, yeah, they confiscated his equipment. But like I said, we're, you can be creative.
Sing to yourself.
You can write.
I'm about to say analog, take it back. But yeah, so I really liked it. I think if I had to rate this documentary, I'm giving it 5 out of 5. Oof. What would I give it? What's Texas? Oh, grills. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 grills. I thought it was really good. I liked it. Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 peach emojis for shaking that ass.
Ew, yes, you nasty.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So if you guys, I think you'd like this if you're a fan of hip hop. I think if you women's empowerment, but honestly, even if you're not a Meg fan, this is still a really good resilient story.
Well, even what you told me too about your husband not necessarily even wanting to keep watching it because it was bumming him out.
He was like, nah, man, I can't even finish watching.
Because he was just feeling like, man, this could have been like somebody I know this happened to. This is so disappointing. It's
and because she's a young woman. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like because at first I was kind of looking at him like, what you mean you can't finish watching it? Like, what you mean? And he's like, I'm like, I don't know. But when he elaborated, he was just like, it's taking me to a mental space where I feel like I'm watching a young woman be like, abused. Being abused. And then also too, like, you're doing it in front of everybody. So it almost feels like I shouldn't be witnessing this. Oh. It felt like this,
because it's so ugly.
Yeah, because coming of age is already hard. And then like doing that in front of people, knowing that there's not a lot of protection and stuff does feel kind of bad.
And you're talking about being in front of those crowds and worried about getting shot.
Yeah, it's scary, man. Like, it's just like being a girl sometimes, man, is just very, very scary. So I think that is why I be like, I just would want to be able to Hulk out on a bitch. Like, I just, I wouldn't want to have to worry about my physical safety. I would want you to fucking have to worry about that. That would be your problem now.
Well, that is what I liked about the Octavia Butler books. That she kind of, the sci-fi, that happens a lot in sci-fi. I like that about the alien movies too. They want to make sure like you get to see the men being violated. What does that feel like?
And not because we like seeing you violated, but there's a feeling of like, so how does that feel?
How does that feel? Is it bad?
Yeah. Do you like that? Is that nice?
No, it's
not
what you enjoy? Cool. Like, we should get away from that.
We should.
Maybe just...
Yeah, and sometimes seeing yourself in that space does help you understand that. So,
because here's the other thing too. Bring up Afghanistan. Oof. Because they were talking about how like, all the, they're going after the women in a lot of these Islamic like republics. But once they get the women in check, guess who they go after next, Moni?
They're coming after you, fellas.
The men. Because if your beard isn't long enough, guess who has to stay home?
Yeah. Where's your beard at, shorty?
Yeah.
Also, take off them blue jeans and throw on whatever it is.
Yeah, that Western stuff. Yeah, you can't wear that around here.
Not around here.
No, not with the...
They're coming for you.
Okay.
They're coming for you.
Yeah, all right.
So, great documentary. Really enjoyed this. And so, let's spin the wheel, friend.
Spin it!
This is what we all deserve.
So everybody, Moni is going to be on vacation next week, but that does not mean we are not going to give you a podcast.
That's true.
Okay, we are unstoppable.
Definitely.
Bad news,
intentionally.
Guess what? Still going.
Yes.
Good news, still going. No matter what. Yap, yap, yap. So we are going to take a banked episode where we did the Am I the Assholes? Yay. And actually, I completely forget what we said on there.
Promise
so I'm looking forward to.
Have no idea. I'll be listening to it.
And it'll be like
myself, like it's the first time.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to editing that because it's been a while since I feel like it was like in April or something.
Probably. I don't even know.
I don't even know what was going on then. I am too. This is a great journal, but thank you guys. Your body belongs to you.
Yes.
No matter what the law says, your body belongs to you.
It does.
So have some fun with it.
Yes, man. And you know what? Make time for the people that you love. Make time for the things that you love. Life is short. And those are the things that make life good. So continue to do that. Before we get out of here, though, don't know if you have any home training notes for anybody.
I do,
as the week,
but I'm going to have to save them for next time.
Okay. I love this, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode this week. Take care of yourselves, guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another fake-ass book club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.